Welcome to Story Corner, a place where we share the triumphs, struggles, and lessons learned from everyday people. Join us as we delve into the unique experiences that shape us and inspire us to live our best lives. Subscribe now for new stories.
Upon receiving news that the groom's father was a mere janitor, the wealthy family of the bride expressed their disapproval. They made every effort to prevent the father from attending the wedding, fearing his presence would taint their image. Nevertheless, the janitor defied their wishes and arrived at the event, bearing a gift that humiliated the bride's family. Amelia and Brandon quickly fell in love after their first encounter. Despite only dating for a few months, they grew intimately familiar with each other's darkest fears and greatest secrets, forging an unbreakable bond. A year and a half into their relationship, Brandon proposed and Amelia eagerly accepted. While Brandon's family was thrilled for the happy couple, Amelia's family had some reservations. Despite Brandon being hardworking, well-mannered, and taking great care of Amelia, her parents were concerned about his family background and situation. They felt that this could cause problems not only in the wedding but also in the marriage. Amelia's great-great-grandfather had come to America and started his own business, becoming successful, and the family had continued to run the businesses until it evolved into a large corporation. Amelia's family was elevated to wealth, and as a part of the elite they typically married within their own class. This was done to prevent any undesirables from entering the family. It was expected that their children would marry into families that were financially stable and could maintain, if not enhance, the family's wealth. Brandon, however, did not come from a wealthy family. His mother had been unable to work for years due to her health condition, while his father worked as a janitor for a minimum wage. This was vastly different from Amelia's world, and her family deemed him unsuitable for her. Despite his hard work, Brandon had not yet achieved success in his career, and it was possible that once he did, Amelia's parents would reconsider their opinion of him. Despite the concerns raised by her family, Amelia was resolved in her love for Brandon. She knew that his social background might not be the same as hers, but what mattered most to her was the deep affection and devotion he showed towards her. Her parents were apprehensive about the future, worried that Amelia might become discontent with the change in lifestyle in the marriage that Brandon could bring. However, Amelia was confident in her feelings and was ready to face any challenges that may come their way. Amelia's parents sat together and plotted a scheme. They would feign their approval of the wedding and pay for the entire event to demonstrate it. Knowing their daughter's stubbornness, they believed the wedding would proceed with or without their consent. Amelia's parents saw an opportunity to use the occasion to their advantage and plan an extravagant affair to showcase their affluence to Brandon and his family. They intended to assert their dominance in the situation. Despite Brandon and Amelia's reservations, they ultimately succumbed to Amelia's parents' insistence and accepted the expensive wedding as their gift. However, Amelia couldn't shake off the feeling that her parents still looked down on Brandon and his family. Amelia arranged a pre-wedding meeting between her family and Brandon's, hoping to avoid any potential conflict or awkwardness on their special day. Her parents agreed to the meeting, viewing it as an opportunity to showcase their wealth and status by hosting it in their grand estate. However, on the day of the meeting, Brandon's father, Nikolai, arrived straight from work in his janitor uniform, apologizing for not having time to change. Despite this, Amelia and Brandon remained determined to see their love through, regardless of any perceived social or financial differences. Amelia's parents found Nikolai's satire distasteful and made no attempt to conceal their derision. They openly ridiculed him and made sure he caught them snickering. After a while, Nikolai excused himself and left. Amelia's parents were elated by his early departure, thinking they had succeeded in their mockery. It was painful for Amelia to witness her parents' behavior, and she was deeply disappointed in them. She couldn't fathom who they could be so callous. As the wedding day drew near, Brandon's mother and sister were frequent visitors, helping out with the preparations. However, Amelia and Brandon never saw Nikolai. On the day of the wedding, Amelia grew increasingly anxious about the absence of her future father-in-law, Nikolai. However, Brandon's mother reassured the couple that there was no way Nikolai would miss such an important event. Just before the ceremony was set to begin, Nikolai arrived, having made an effort to look at his best. He had rented a sharp suit, put on polished shoes and styled his hair, rendering it impossible to discern that he was a janitor. Despite this, Amelia's parents attempted to move Brandon's family to the back of the room. However, Amelia quickly intervened and corrected their seating arrangements. Amelia confronted her parents about their behavior, telling them that they were being rude and disrespectful. She warned them that if they continued to ruin her wedding, she would never forgive them. As they approached the part of the ceremony where the priest would ask if anyone objected to the union, Amelia began to feel anxious. She feared that her parents or relatives would stand up and spoil her big day. To her surprise, when the moment arrived, her family remained silent. As the ceremony progressed, Amelia began to relax, realizing that in just a few minutes she would officially be married to Brandon. The wedding ceremony went smoothly, and the happy couple was able to exchange their vows and leave the church feeling relieved. However, upon arrival at the reception venue, an air of discomfort lingered. Amelia's guests avoided interacting with Brandon's family, making the atmosphere awkward. Despite this, Brandon and Amelia resolved to make the most of their special day and put on a brave face. They acknowledged that their families were unlikely to ever get along and decided to turn the gift-giving ceremony into a highlight of the day. They asked the host to have both sets of parents present their gifts to the newlyweds in front of the guests, requiring the bride and groom to open the presents from their parents in full view of everyone. Amelia's parents made sure that the newlyweds would open their gift first, so that Nikolai would see how expensive their gift was. They gave tickets for a 2-week all-expenses-paid vacation in the Maldives for the honeymoon, brand new car. When it was the turn for Brandon's parents, Brandon's mother gave the newlyweds an antique tea set. She shared that the same tea set was handed out her by her mother on her wedding day. It was a great way to show Amelia that she was part of the family now. Then Nikolai pulled out a small gift box. He handed the gift to Amelia and told her that he had created the gift himself and he hoped the couple would use it when they move into their new home. During the gift-giving ceremony, Amelia's eyes filled with tears as she eagerly unwrapped the present. She was overwhelmed with emotion when she saw what was inside and immediately stood up to hug Nikolai, thanking him for his kindness and treating her like his own daughter. The other guests were curious about the gift and leaned forward to catch a glimpse as Brandon took it out and held it up. To everyone's surprise, the gift was a beautifully crafted plate with the inscription, "Welcome to the home of Brandon and Amelia Parker." This small but meaningful gesture made Amelia's parents realize that their daughter was not just taking Brandon's surname, but she was now legally a Parker. The impact of this realization hit them like a cold bucket of water. They realized that from this day on, Amelia will no longer be carrying their family name. No matter how hard they tried to exclude Nikolai from the family, from this day forward their daughter will be carrying Brandon's and Nikolai's last name. She is now Amelia Parker and they had to make peace with that.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Story Corner. We hope you were inspired by today's story and learned something new. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Until next time, keep living life to the fullest.